Hey guys, you're here with Dr. Molly,
and Todd Rowland.
and we're bringing you the podcast, the business side of the pet industries. Today we're here with Dennis, CEO of Wagn'Tails Mobile Pet Conversion. So thank you for being with us today, Dennis.
Thank you, guys.
So you are the CEO of the Wagn'Tails Mobile Conversions, and what you guys do are the mobile vans and trailers for the mobile dog groomers. They're all set up, ready to go, all inclusive. They've got the dryers, the tubs, the floors, which are phenomenal. The floors in the Wagn'Tails vans, like, we haven't yet to find any floor that even halfway compares to that. So let's go ahead and just give us a little bit of a background on Wagn'Tails. Anything you want to share, kind of talk about the small business organization side of that.
Yeah, so Wagn'Tails really has a long history of not just manufacturing the vehicles. We really started that in 1996, but we actually operated a fleet of 20 vans in Lansing, Michigan, where I'm originally from. And we built our own vans, the DIYs as they're called, in our garage back in the early 80s. We had roundwood paneling, Coke barrel drums for water tanks, a Home Depot bathtub in the back.
Yeah.
They were pretty. We had a doozy table that was pretty, just a foot pedal hydraulic table. And we plugged in the vans to our customers' houses. We didn't have air conditioning in Michigan,
right?
Which, was kind of a hindrance at times in the summer, obviously. But we've come a long ways, and we improve our product every year. But how we got started in mobile was with our family business. Is we had a kennel, 2 grooming salons, and then my mom, who's the entrepreneur and the idea person in our family, really got the idea rolling because she visited Phoenix, Arizona, and she saw a couple mobile grooming vans driving around when she was visiting my grandparents. And then she said, hey, let's do this in our area because it's great, because instead of having a brick and mortar and the overhead that comes with it, you can cover a much larger area without the added expense and overhead of a brick and mortar. And so she added 2 mobiles initially. And then after about a couple years of operation, her CPA said, look, you need to add more of these mobiles because they're a lot more profitable than your storefront is. And, even though in the storefront, they were grooming, each groomer was probably grooming 10 pets per day. And in the mobile, they were only grooming 6. They were charging a premium for the at-home service,
Right?
Where it was more profitable because they had a lot less overhead, didn't have the property taxes, the triple net lease and all of those things that came with the brick and mortar. So that's where we got to the point where we had 20. Now, when we got up to 20 vans, we needed a really good qualified pet stylist to put in the vans. So that's when we opened the Michigan School of Canine Cosmetology to train the folks to operate the vans and really help, the grooming industry in general with having a great educational system. Really the only one in the state of Michigan at the time.
That's awesome.
So,
That's wild. Yeah, I had no idea that you guys had actually started as like an independent company and then just grew to such a large scale, and then had the background of, I'm sure you learned a lot as you went about what worked and didn't work.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. We, in 1996 is really when, my family said, hey, we can take this concept that we've, we felt we perfected. We had a long ways to go, but, and take this publicly to the trade shows. And then we started attending shows like Intergroom, the Atlanta Pet Fair, Groom Expo, and all of those shows to share the concept. And it really took off from there. In 2005, we created our first large production facility, and it grew out of the one that we're in. We had an 8,000 square foot building And then we went to a 24,000 square foot building. And because the demand was increasing for the mobile services, and a lot of the pet stylists in our industry were catching on to, the convenience that it offers pet owners and the benefits of it. And that's really how it's kind of exploded. And we started as a family business, and, a lot of times when you have parents that start a business and then the son takes over, it's not always as successful as you want it to be. But I like to think I've had their support through the years and everything too, which has been really helpful to me and growing the business and helping a lot of people. And the way we look at our business model is, we sell to independent groomers, and we manufacture the vehicle. We try to help with the business side of things too, from our years of experience with marketing and scheduling, routing, pricing, all those things, to give them a good foundation to build on. And the thing that's most gratifying to us is that when we talk to somebody at a trade show the year after they just got their van and they started their business, and their whole demeanor and personality has changed, and they're very successful and happy, which really makes us feel good to see, someone change their lives, whether they worked in an independent or they worked at a big box store for several years, and then they went out on their own. They took the risk and they started their own business and got their van, and now they're doing extremely well. We're very pleased to see that. So
one thing that is always amazed me about your products is how they hold their value. I mean, you'll see 2007 models, 2005, 2006. I mean, probably going for what they paid for them back then. Now, I know we've had inflation and things like that, but they really hold their value.
Yeah. And really that has to do with a number of variables. One is that, it's a specialty conversion.
Right.
If you were to buy a Ford F-150 after 5 years, it's probably going to be worth maybe 20% of what you paid for it originally. Whereas a grooming van is going to be worth close to 50%. And then there's that point where they just really hold their value because they're very specialized, like you mentioned, the 2007, holding its value very well. Yes, go ahead, Todd.
That too, and I think because you are selling them to, a lot of independent one-person people, that they take very good care of them, because it is the lifeline of their income for their family. And so that we see when we've bought one from your facility that was used, and we've bought two from individuals that were used. And I mean, they're in great shape because, it's people's livelihood, and they took care of them.
Yeah, and we try to support not just folks who have purchased vans from, but if you have a Wagn'Tails van, and you give us a call and you provide the VIN number and you register with us, we're going to treat you just like you bought it from us, because, that's just our philosophy through the years, in supporting Wagn'Tails customers and helping in any way we can. So.
Yeah, and one thing we really like too are that you guys actually stock and provide a lot of the parts and accessories and things. So when we do need things like a water pump that already has the correct hookups, or an overhead ceiling fan or anything like that, the lighting, LED lighting strip goes out. It's as simple as logging on, and in 2 days you guys have it. We're shipped out the next day, and we have it in 2 days, as long as it's something which is in stock, which even if it's something you guys are out of stock on, we've noticed you get it in really quickly, and it's never out of stock for long. So that's been really helpful too, because we do have several different models, several different years, and it doesn't matter, if a water pump fits in all of the ones we have, the knobs fit on all of them. So that's been really helpful, not trying to go around and pick and choose pieces that might fit into these vans.
And we have, we've had some of our longtime employees that have retired. They're, at that age, especially with COVID, it seemed like that was, the retirement years for a lot of folks.
You either got into grooming or you got out of grooming during COVID.
Right, exactly. and for our employees as well, like our, some of our folks, that were older, they did retire just because of the stresses that came along with COVID and all of that. But, right now we have 3 really qualified customer care folks, and we've got a great manager in place. So we're very pleased with the progress we've made there to support, because really, it's all about supporting our customer base and getting them the right parts that they need, or answering their questions. And that's one of the things that Wagn'Tails has always been known for, is customer service. And we want to continue that and really improve on it every year. So
one thing that we really appreciated is when we come to pick up one of the vans from your facility is that, of course, we didn't bring the employee with us, but the videos that you guys emailed to us that basically took a day of training off of our time that we sent to them, and they watched all the videos, and they become probably more familiar with that van than we did, a lot quicker, because they actually started using that one right away. But the training that comes along with that we thought was very helpful.
And an additional reference, it may be something they don't use every day, but then when it comes up, it's like there's a video for it so they can watch it. And a lot of that's also available online. There's been things that we've forgotten or haven't had to use, and other groomers or you all have shared that either on Facebook or YouTube, and it's real easy to find a video or how to on that.
yeah, and one thing that we just added about 6 months ago is the Wagn'Tails app.
Okay.
And the Wagn'Tails app is a great central location for all of those orientation, product use videos. And if you go to our website or talk to our customer service folks and just provide your email, we can, to verify that you're a Wagn'Tails customer, we would get you registered. And then you'll be able to download that app. Or if you have employees who would like it as well when they're out in the field, they'd be able to download that as well. We would just need their email address to register them for that.
Well, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, we didn't know about that, so that's a great thing to have, especially for some of ours. Most of our vans are kind of set up the same, but we have a few that have a few little differences. So one that maybe not so familiar with one aspect can, pull up that information, which would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And nowadays, everybody wants a video opposed to a manual, right?
Yes.
I don't want to take time to flip through a manual. I want a video on what I need.
I think that
Yeah.
I think that's when I realized I was getting some age on me, is because I was looking to do something and I had to rewind the video over and over again. It just wasn't Wagn'Tails related, but I'm like, if I could just read it, I would get it in one time. But like I was
Yeah, you have to pause, do a few things, rewind, pause, do a few things. One thing too we really like is you guys mentioned that whole, you try to set a business owner that comes to you guys up for success. So you do have that business background, you do help with the marketing, you do help with the software, you do show about the routing optimization and things like that. So you have the tools to kind of go ahead and give that little bit of business background to someone who doesn't previously have that. So that's a really good feature, because sometimes, they don't, as a new business owner, you don't necessarily think about those things.
Yeah. And I think the coaching that we provide and our sales team, we really try to train them as well, because I think, when someone's starting their business, I think the 2 biggest mistakes that they make is not pricing correctly, and then trying to cover too large of an area when they're routing. And there's a certain amount of fear that comes with starting a business. Hey, am I going to have the clients? If someone calls about my service, are they going to be upset because I'm more expensive than, a brick and mortar? So how to sell that and communicate the advantages of your service. And, we really try to emphasize that with our business and marketing success guide that we provide to everyone who purchases a vehicle too. So.
And that's one reason we started this podcast, is because we're trying to get the positive information out there. Like we just had someone that's opened up mobile, probably about 45 minutes outside of our service area, and they advertised their pricing, and we're like, they're not even making as much as our employees are making. I mean, they're not even charging up to, and it's just like they're not setting themselves up for success. And that what you offer somebody, if they buy a van from you guys, is awesome. It would have helped this person.
Things
Yeah,
that,
and
we've learned along the way too. Cause I mean, I'll say it, when I started, that was 9 years ago, and I had left a corporate store. So I was the third one in our whole area. And so basically all I did was I just tacked on $10 to whatever the corporate price was. And that's what I charged people. I worked 7 days a week. I would take any appointment anywhere, ping ponging across town, just because, like you said, when you're a new business owner, you have that stress and you have that anxiety. But, along the way, you've learned that you do have a premium luxury service, and, you have to think about things about where you're going to be, how you look to customers, stuff like that, to where now that in hindsight, you can offer that information. But that's why we just think it's so great that anyone that gets a van from you guys has that right up front, and kind of stuff. Like I said, I know they wouldn't have thought about it, or even if they've thought about it, they wouldn't know what to do, because I've been there.
and one of the things that we did recently too is we surveyed all of our customers on pricing. Because of the inflation that's happened recently, they really, there's a lot of folks who aren't as old as I am, where they experienced inflation in the 80s and all that.
Right.
So this is new to them, and they're like, okay, what's going on? Everything is more expensive. My insurance, my bills, my fuel, everything is more expensive. What do I do? And so we did that survey to share, and I think we had about 500 folks that participated in it. And then we shared it with everyone to say, look, this is, the average charge for a Yorkie, according to our survey. This is the average charge for a Shih Tzu. This is a large Golden Doodle. What mobiles are charging. And we did it by region too, so you could see the breakdown. And then hopefully folks see that and they go, well, maybe I need to get more towards average. Maybe I haven't been as aggressive as I should have with the costs and my overhead going up during this, challenging time. So.
Yeah, I thought that was a great survey. It provided a lot of useful information, just to, like you said, just to kind of compare, see where you're at, a good baseline to, okay, at the minimum, you need to kind of be around this, because that's what your area is going for. Because, yeah, like Todd mentioned, with that new one that opened, the prices for that one were cheaper than what I started with 9 years ago, mobile in our area. And like I said, I was underpriced then. So it was just a good opportunity to reach out and kind of let them know and say, hey, we're open to talking about pricing. There's a way to figure it out. Because with groomer burnout, I mean, that's a number one thing, is underpricing and having to overwork. And I mean, if you can mitigate some of that by having correct pricing, not work so much, set lower hours, I mean, that right there is going to affect your burnout rate.
Yeah, there's so many times when I've talked to customers through the years, and I'm just working, 6 days a week. I'm grooming 10 or whatever. And I said, where's your pricing at? That's maybe something you need to look at, because, that burnout is a real thing, even in mobile, but it can be avoided. There's no question,
And it also leads to people not, a lot of people, we realize, is that their pricing, they'll price just to be able to live, and they're not planning for that, generator that goes out 5 years later, to have money to save for replacing that and things like that. And so we just, your model that you give to people is very great. So what's coming out next, or has came out just recently?
Yeah, so we have come out with a new system that really replaces the generator, called the Clean Power System. And the elements of this system are, the primary power source are lithium batteries. And then we have solar panels on top to charge the batteries. And then while you're driving in between clients, there's actually an alternator that's charging the lithium batteries as well. And the maintenance on this clean power system is basically, when you get home at night after a long day, you plug in, and that charges the batteries overnight, and then they're 100% for the next day. This system really is a great system for a number of reasons. It's very easy. There's not the maintenance. There's no oil changes, no tune-ups, no scheduling service appointments, none of that. And it really simplifies the operation of the van.
Yeah,
So,
yesterday was one of the hottest days of the year here, and I had to go and change 6 of our vans oil yesterday, and that would be nice to eliminate that, but
yeah.
we'll have to do that over time. We can't switch out all 6 obviously at one
Yeah.
time, but it is definitely something we're looking at.
What is the life expectancy for those clean power batteries?
Good question. So 10 to 13 years, it's basically 3,500 cycles,
Okay.
which according to our math with our average customer usage is 10 to 13 years. So much longer than a gas generator, certainly.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And I realize it's an investment cost, but I was looking on your website, and it looks like you're recouping a lot of that cost within the first year on gas and maintenance. I know our local owning place, they charge about $500 for the 500-hour service, which we do anywhere between 4 and 5 of those a year per van, and so just that saving alone, not including the gas or regular oil changes, is significant.
Well, and it's really, you consider that the average generator burns about a half a gallon of fuel per hour, whether it be diesel or gas. Okay. And you take that into account and you're working 8 hours a day. That's a lot of money when you consider a year's worth of usage working 8 hours a day, or, if you're running the generator 7 hours. And then when you consider the maintenance for the tune-up, the oil changes, and then the time it takes to do that, right? A lot of our customers with fleets, they'll schedule a down day just for maintenance.
Yep.
And
do once a quarter, because you have to schedule it out, and then I obviously have to be off. Those places only work Monday through Friday, which is what most of our groomers work. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of expenses.
yeah, and we attend all the trade shows, we talk to our customers, we listen. And with the supply chain shortages, that Onan wasn't immune to that. Cummins, our supplier for the generators, or any supplier for that matter, and that was a pain point for our customers, and there were a lot of frustrations, and that's really was the primary motivation for us to create this clean power system where it simplified things, and you didn't really have to worry about other suppliers and supply chains. So, and we've been right now, I think we have over 80 of the units out there, and the feedback has been very positive for the clean power system. And I expect it to really continue to take over our sales over the next 5 years. And I think we've already seen a lot of our fleets converting over to it.
That was another question I was going to ask. I thought I had seen that if you have one of the generator models, you can convert it over. And that's still a possibility?
Well, no, they're basically trading in to convert over
Oh,
to.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's been a question that a lot of folks have asked. Hey, can I bring the van to you? Can you take out the generator, put in the clean power system? Unfortunately, to do that, it's just not cost effective, because we would have to remove a lot of walls and wiring and basically rebuild the whole unit, which doesn't make a lot of sense, to do that as far as the expense with the labor and the parts to convert it over. So what we're seeing is a lot of our customers trading in and then upgrading to the clean power system. And right now, with our trade-ins, used vehicles are worth more than ever. Right. So they have a lot of positive equity that they're applying towards the new van. So it's been a big help to us.
One question I had, because we have never had to finance one of the vans, but if someone's financing, do they have to make payments on it while it's being built, or? Okay.
Good question. The way we set things up is we have the vehicle here in stock, and when we get the van and we assign it to our customer, then the payments don't start until after you take delivery of the vehicle or the vehicle.
Well, that would be helpful for a new person in business.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We try to extend it out as far as we can to give them as much time as possible before that first payment's due. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. I know we've heard with other people who have financed through different places or different things that hasn't been the case when they place the order, whether they're buying it outright or making the payments. They start when they place the order, so they're kind of have that panic too, that especially with all the shortages and things that have happened, that they're paying on this vehicle they don't even have yet, and they don't have their business going yet.
Exactly. And that typically happens where you have to buy the vehicle from a dealer and bring it to the conversion company where you're making payments. But with us, because of our partnerships that we've had for decades with our local dealers, we've got it set up where we have the inventory and we can delay that first payment, which is a nice benefit to our customers.
Is the battery, the new clean set, is it affected by any different climates?
Yes, good question, Todd. So the one thing with lithium is if the battery gets below freezing, it will not function. Okay, so that's kind of the Achilles heel of lithium. However, in all of our vehicles, we do have furnaces, and we also have an electric heater that comes standard with the Clean Power system. So when you park it at night and you plug it in, the electric heater with the thermostat is set to keep the batteries warm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we thought of all that, and we've always had furnaces in our vehicles,
Right.
But adding the electric heater that's specific for the Clean Power system just ensures that it'll function properly, even in the colder climates.
Okay.
One good thing about your van is that, if you in a winter storm and your power is out at your house, keep your thing full. You got your propane heater going, you got your electricity
Hot
going.
water.
We've had an employee that a storm hit by their house and they were out of power for 2 days. But hey, you've got your generator.
Yeah,
not ideal, but you've got power.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard some of our customers during the hurricanes and everything. They're very popular in the neighborhood, right? With the generator.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so, good question.
So, I guess where are you guys going to be next? I know you go to all the big shows, but where can people expect to find you guys? And will you have one of these Clean Start vans there as well?
Yeah, we're going to actually be at the Groom Expo in Hershey, Pennsylvania here coming up in the first part of September. And we're going to have our new Quantum Groom van on display at the show. And that is exclusively with the Clean Power system. And so we'll have that on display in addition to our Supreme Groom, which is a generator operated vehicle. So, and that's the great thing with Wagn'Tails. We can offer the generator if you prefer that, or the Clean Power. So you have the option to choose. And this Quantum Groom van that we're debuting really at the Groom Expo show is a great new addition. It's more compact version of the Sprinter. It's built on the 2500 Sprinter platform. And because it's a smaller platform, we really can't put a diesel generator because that weighs 500 pounds. So, but we can put the lithium batteries with the Clean Power system. So that gave us another opportunity to build on a smaller platform, which a lot of people want.
Yeah, we're excited to see that. We'll be in Hershey as well, and we're excited to see that one in person.
Terrific. Yeah, and in addition to that, one of the things that we're doing is we are going to have a contest in October. October is Adopt a Shelter Dog Month, and one of the things that we did in 2010 after the recession is a lot of the shelters were overwhelmed with pets. And that's kind of occurring right now because there were a lot of COVID dogs, and then people, for financial reasons, or they just weren't prepared to take care of a pet. We're seeing that, and so in October we're having a contest to see how many of our customers can groom the most shelter dogs for charity, and so that's something that we're really excited about.
Yeah,
that's
that
awesome.
is exciting. Yeah, we'll have to make sure to push and remind groomers of that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
Before we end it, what's one word of advice you would give to somebody who's teeter-tottering between building their own, DIY versus going ahead and purchasing the van from you?
Well, I think that, we started in business doing our DIY, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. That's how we got started. But I can tell you that from the early 80s when we built our own till now, we've made a lot of improvements. And I think I think you can build your own, but you're going to have a lot of the growing pains that we experienced, for a long time, and a lot of the challenges. And I think with mobile, business disruptions and downtime, I think, are a big problem, because when you have to reschedule appointments and your consistency isn't there, I think what Wagg'Tails can offer is that consistency and that support that you really wouldn't have if you did build your own. So, we have an online parts store, we have 3 customer care people, and we have a model that's really been tried and true. Right now, we have over 5,000 units in operation. So that makes a big difference. And the equipment that we have tried and, through the years, it's tried and true. So that would be what I would emphasize.
One thing that I find helpful with your vans is, especially for people who are moving out of a corporate salon or something and getting into business for themselves, is that they may be excellent as a dog groomer. They may lack a little bit on the business side, but you can help them get started in that. But the mechanics of the grooming area, when they have a uncle or cousin help them, Uncle Joe, whoever helped them, they're not available to help fix that stuff that goes wrong, and they may not even have that. I mean, the stuff that you're putting in the vans, you have supply of, like, Molly said, you can order online. You have that backup. And what we find is a lot of things we can fix on our own that we don't have to, besides maybe the generator on your van. There's really nothing that me and Molly that has went wrong that we couldn't fix ourselves, because you either, if we don't know how to, you have a video, or there's such, like you said, there's so many people that have them in the Facebook groups and stuff. If you ask a question, people are like, oh, that screw's over there, that's all you got to do. And that, like you said, eliminates the downtime, which for a person starting a new business, you don't need downtime.
That's the biggest killer. I mean, rescheduling appointments, and there's a lot of redundancies that we put in our vans. For example, with the LP water heater, you have an electric water heater if you run out of LP. You have a lot of things that you can adjust. You have the ability to plug into shore power if you needed to. So we try to put those redundancies in to eliminate downtime, because we operated the business. We know what you're going through. My wife is a mobile groomer here in the area. She's out right now working. So if something, doesn't work as it should, I hear about it. So, and she's our grooming expert as well. So when we were testing the Clean Power system, she operated it for 1.5 years before we brought it out to market, to test things. So, I can't get away from it. She's going to tell me about it when I come.
Right.
When
Yeah.
I go.
I think that's what
beta tester.
Yeah, I think that's what makes your company stand out from some of the other companies. Is you have, like you said, a spouse out there doing it in one of your vans right now, and like you're going to hear about it, and she's going to make you change it.
Yeah.
But so I think that's just one thing that makes you guys stand out. We love our vans that we have of yours, and we look forward to talking to you again if we have the opportunity.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Molly.
Thanks.